This demo will look at WilloWare's CompleteCount module. Before we get into the software, let's take a very high-level overview of the stock count process using CompleteCount. CompleteCount provides the tools needed to more easily, accurately, and quickly perform a physical inventory count. The module supports the use of numbered stock tags for recording the count, or it can import a count from one or more Excel spreadsheets. There are a few benefits to using the stock tag method of counting. A stock tag is a numbered slip of paper used to record the count of an item. Using tags provides a paper trail of what was recorded for the count, which can be used during an audit to verify the inventory adjustments made as a result of the physical. Tags can also help ensure items get counted when they are not stored in the correct location. For example, blank tags can be placed on every bin in the warehouse, and whatever is in that bin is recorded on the tag or tags. Even if an item is not included on the stock count, it can be found during the count, recorded on the tags, and added to the count. However, using paper stock tags can be cumbersome and may be overkill if the count is not being verified by an auditor. If what you need is the most efficient way to record and enter a count, importing from Excel is the right tool. CompleteCount can create a count sheet in Excel, shown here. During the import, CompleteCount can add new items to the count. It can create new sites, bins, item site records, and it can add new lot numbers and lot attributes. It can also import from multiple spreadsheets and combine the total count if items are found on multiple spreadsheets. Regardless of the method used to record the count, the information ends up in the stock tag entry window in CompleteCount. Either the paper tags are manually entered into the stock tag entry window, or the Excel spreadsheet is imported, and each row in the spreadsheet is recorded as the virtual tag in CompleteCount. CompleteCount has several reports to help you verify and validate the count. It can show you lot numbers in GP that were not found on the count, items found during the count that were not included in the stock count, and an estimated variance cost. If you use count tolerance, it will report on items outside of tolerance, provide a way to override the tolerance, and/or move the out of tolerance items to another stock count to be recounted. The next step is to run the stock tag submission wizard, shown here. This utility calculates the total count on the tags for each item and the variance between counted and expected quantities, and submits that back to the Dynamics GP stock count entry window. The final step is to post the variance adjustment from the GP stock count entry window. We'll jump into Dynamics GP now for a more detailed look at CompleteCount. There are some setup tasks when your company starts a cycle counting process or starts using Dynamics GP to support the process. The first is assigning ABC codes to items so that high value or high usage items can be counted more frequently than lower value or lower usage items. Using ABC codes is not necessary, but it is a commonly used method to improve physical count accuracy. Dynamics GP refers to ABC codes, while in CompleteCount we call them value codes. GP only supports 3, A, B, and C. CompleteCount can support 26 divisions of inventory, A to Z. The Dynamics GP ABC code wizard shown here, and we already have it set up to calculate when we click Next. As you can see, this takes several seconds to run on a very small number of items in the Fabricam database. The wizard is moving through the item master one item at a time. It also updates the ABC code on items one item at a time. This can be incredibly slow when you have thousands of items. The CompleteCount value code update utility, on the other hand, performs the analysis with a direct SQL query and also performs the update via SQL. Note how quickly the screen fills after clicking Calculate. This makes it much easier and less time-consuming to periodically update the value codes to reflect changing usage or priorities. Another thing to note on this window is that CompleteCount stores the value code, or ABC code, at the item site level, where GP has only an item level code. This means that CompleteCount can support different counting schedules per facility. The next step is to assign items to a cycle count schedule. A cycle count schedule is the frequency with which you want to count each group of items, A, B, C, etc. For example, if you have 200 items to be counted every 30 days and you count each Monday morning, the count assignment might look like this. It starts on the 3rd with 50 items, then the 10th, and so on. When the count is performed on the 3rd, GP will calculate the next count date for that item and set it another 30 days in the future. CompleteCount can also be used to perform a year-end physical. It has some special features to help with that process, which we will look at shortly. Assigning items to a count schedule is another area where CompleteCount is designed to be fast and efficient. This is the Dynamics GP window for assigning items to a count schedule. Notice how long it takes to run on just the small number of items in Fabricam. Now in the CompleteCount window, the same process is nearly instantaneous. Because it is so fast, it is easy to make changes and run the utility again until you have schedules set up exactly as you need. CompleteCount supports assigning a count tolerance to items at the item site level. When tolerance is set at, say, 10%, you will be allowed to submit the stock count without errors if the counted quantity is within 10% of the captured quantity. Captured quantity is how much inventory GP thinks is on hand. If the counted quantity is outside of tolerance, the stock tag submission wizard, which we looked at earlier, will flag those items as having an error and will not proceed. Tolerance can be set at the item site level using this wizard, and default values can also be set at the item, site, item class, and company level. There are several options for dealing with out-of-tolerance items. You can recount the items using the current stock count. You can override the tolerance error and submit the count, or you can pull the item off of the current stock count. This latter option allows you to submit the rest of the counted items while retaining only the problem items, which allows you to unfreeze most of the inventory on the count. Using tolerance is not required, and by default, all items are excluded from the tolerance control. Performing a cycle count, or complete physical, starts in the GP stock count schedule window. Items are added to the count either manually or via the mass add utility. This is another area where CompleteCount is designed to handle a large amount of inventory. First, here is the Dynamics GP method of adding items to a stock count. As you can see, the process for adding items to a count using the Dynamics GP mass add utility runs for quite a while even on the small Fabricam database. Now we'll repeat the same process of adding value code C items. The CompleteCount mass add utility is very quick because it was designed with large databases in mind. After adding items to a count, the next step is to start the count. Before we do that, there are a few additional CompleteCount features added to the stock count schedule window. First, stock count extension. Normally, when posting a stock count, GP will automatically calculate the next count date for the items on the count, such as setting it 30 days in the future. This is useful when performing regular cycle counts. However, if you also perform a complete year-end physical, you don't want to alter the next count date. Marking this box will ensure that all counted items stay on their assigned schedule. Second, stock count filters. When working with a large data set, it can be hard to locate specific items in the stock count schedule window. The filters provide several options for restricting this display. Third, start no item count. Normally a stock count cannot be started with no items listed. Why would you want to do that? Our Excel import, which we'll look at later, can automatically add items to the count during import. This option allows you to start the count with no items, create a blank count template worksheet in Excel, then simply record the items you count and import them. The final option, print stock tags, is the next step in the count process. So we'll start the count now. We will both print stock tags and export to Excel. When entering the count, we will look at manually entering tags and importing from Excel. To print tags, you first choose a tag type, blank or assigned. Blank tags do not have an item number assigned to the tag. This is the most common way to print tags. A large number of blank tags are created and they are attached to each bin throughout the warehouse. Workers record on the tag the inventory that is found in the bin. Assigned tags have an item site or an item site bin assigned to each tag. For this example, we will print assigned tags because it makes data entry faster. On the Print Options window, you can choose whether or not to include captured quantities and/or serial numbers or lot numbers on the assigned tags. There are several tag layouts available. Note, you can also configure CompleteCount to work with your existing pre-printed, pre-numbered tags. The tags provide a place to record the counted quantity and also to perform a recount. Note that you can reprint tags if necessary, such as if one is lost or destroyed. You can reprint specific tags or ranges. It also requires providing a reason for reprinting tags. Next, we will export the count to Excel. In the export format, select to create one workbook or a workbook per site. You can also choose to include captured quantity, quantity available, and quantity on hand. The Excel count sheet does not need to be created from CompleteCount. You can create a count sheet manually as long as it has the same columns in the same position. Items can be added to the spreadsheet, and if they are not on the stock count, the Excel link import routine will add new items automatically. Likewise, new serial and lot numbers can be added during the count. The columns to the right of H, I to N, can be used when a count includes new lot numbers to add the lot attribute information. Multiple copies of the spreadsheet can be given to multiple users. The counts from multiple worksheets will be merged during the import process. We will start by importing the count from Excel. As mentioned earlier, the Excel sheet can include new items. CompleteCount will create new item site and item site bin records. This does not occur during the import step, and we will discuss this later. The import can also create new sites. New sites and bins do get created during the import process. If automatically add new sites is not marked and a new site is found, that will be reported as an error during the import. The scrolling window at the bottom shows the file names that have been imported. This is to help prevent duplicate import. The Excel link import creates a virtual tag for each row in the spreadsheet. Note that the serial number and lot number that had a 0 count are not shown here. The import does not create records for zeros. Any uncounted item that was captured when the count is started will be set to 0. In other words, you do not need to record a 0 for every item with 0 inventory. Just count what you have, and CompleteCount will automatically record everything else with a count of 0. The first two tags here are our assigned stock tags. The one serial number we didn't count in Excel we will record as counted here. Likewise, the one lot number we didn't count in Excel we will also record here. After entering the count, there are a number of reports that will help identify any issues that need to be addressed. A few examples are Tags by Status New. This shows tags that were printed that haven't been accounted for. There are several reports for finding new items, sites, and bins. Items captured, not counted. This shows items where the count will be set to 0. Items over allocated. Counting items that are allocated, such as to sales orders, can be tricky, and sometimes allocations can prevent the count from being posted. The CompleteCount manual discusses allocations in detail. This report helps find those problem items. As a side note, CompleteCount will allow you to remove items from a count so that problem items can be addressed later while allowing the rest of the count to be completed. Tolerance. Items out of tolerance can be removed from the current count and put onto a new stock count for recounting. Variance. Lastly, the estimated variance report shows the projected dollar variance created by the count. In a standard cost environment, the variance will be exact, but in an actual cost environment, it is an estimate using the current cost. With actual cost, there may be variations in cost between receipts of an item, so the exact cost of an adjustment is not known until specific inventory is adjusted out. The stock count process with CompleteCount begins and ends in the GP Inventory Stock Count module. The stock tag submission wizard is the final step in CompleteCount. It performs a number of validation and error checking steps, and then summarizes the tags, i.e. if the item is counted on multiple tags, it adds them all together, and then enters the count back into the GP Inventory Stock Count entry window. We have an allocation error and a tolerance error. Allocation error. Allocation prevents adjusting the serial numbers. In this case, we know that the allocations are coming from sales order processing, so those sales lines will need to be zeroed or back-ordered. Tolerance error. The tolerance management window provides a few options for dealing with tolerance issues. Note, the tolerance report would have shown these items before we reached the tag submission stage, so you would normally run that report first. We can remove the item from this count to a new count, or we can override the shortage. With those errors fixed, we can rerun the submission wizard. The final step, Submit Count, updates the stock count entry window and moves the CompleteCount records to history tables. The stock count entry window is then used to post the stock count, which creates an inventory variance transaction. To learn more about this product or other WilloWare products, please contact your Microsoft GP partner or www.willowware.com or sales@willowware.com.